I'm not recommending that people buy stocks today or tomorrow or next week or next month. I think it all depends on your circumstances, but you shouldn't buy stocks unless you expect, in my view, you expect to hold them for a very extended period, and you are prepared financially and psychologically to hold them the same way you would hold a farm and never look at a quote and never pay it. You don't need to pay attention to them. I mean, the main thing to do, and you're not going to pick the bottom, and nobody else can pick it for you or anything of the sort. You've got to be prepared to, when you buy a stock, to have it go down 50% or more and be comfortable with it as long as you're comfortable with the holding. And I pointed out, I think a year, maybe 2 years ago in the annual report, just the one before this most recent one, I pointed out that there have been 3 times in Berkshire's history when the price of Berkshire stock went down 50%. 3 different times. Now, if you owed it on borrowed money, you could have been cleaned out. There wasn't anything wrong with Berkshire when those 3 times occurred. But if you're going to look at the price of the stock and think that you have to act because it's doing this or that, or somebody else tells you, well, how can you stay with that when something else is going up or anything? You've got to be in the right psychological position. And frankly, some people are not really careful. Some people are more subject to fear than others. It's like the virus. It strikes some people with much greater ferocity than others. And fear is something I really never felt financially, but I don't think Charlie's felt it either. But some people can handle it psychologically. If you can't handle it psychologically, then you really shouldn't own stocks because you're going to buy and sell them at the wrong time. And you should not count on somebody else telling you this. You should do something you understand yourself. If you don't understand it yourself, you're going to be affected by the next person you talk to. And so you should be in a position to hold. And I don't know whether today is a great day to buy stocks. I know it will work out over 20 or 30 years. I don't know whether it'll work out over 2 years at all. I have no idea whether you'll be ahead or behind on a stock you buy on Monday morning or the market. The business of being scared, I don't know what you do about that. If you're of that, if you have a temperament that when others are fearful, you're going to get scared yourself. You are not going to make a lot of money in securities over time in all probability. People really, if they didn't look at quotations, but of course the whole world is urging them to look at quotations and more than that, do something based on small changes in quotations. But if you didn't, think how much more rational, we've talked about it before, but think how much more rational investing in a farm is than the way many people buy stocks. If you buy a farm, do you get a quote next week? Do you get a quote next month? If you buy an apartment house, do you get a quote next week or month? No, you look at the apartment house or the farm and you say, I expected it to produce so many bushels of soybeans and corn, and if it does that, it meets my expectations. But they buy a stock and they think if it goes up, it's wonderful, and if it goes down, it's bad. We think just the opposite. When it goes down, we love it because we'll buy more, and if it goes up, it kills us to buy more. Ben Graham wrote about it. It's been explained. But if you can't get yourself in that mental attitude, you're going to be scared whenever everybody else is scared. And to expect somebody else to tell you when to buy and therefore get your courage back up or something. I could get this fellow's courage up substantially by saying it's a wonderful time to buy. And then a week from now, he'd run into somebody else that tells him the world is coming to an end. And he'd sell. I mean, he's a broker's friend, but he's not going to make a lot of money. Charlie?
Yeah, I think I developed more courage after I learned I could handle hardship. So maybe you should get your feet wet with a little more failure.
Well, I've certainly followed that advice. Some people really do not have apparently they don't have the temperament or emotional stability or whatever it may be to invest in securities. They'd be much better off if there were no quotations at all. And Keynes talked about that some in the past too. To take something that should be an asset, a quotation every day, terrific liquidity. Nobody says, how liquid is my farm or something of the sort. So they're not expecting that prices to tell them something about how they're doing. The market is saying this or that. Whenever anybody says the market is saying this or that, it's sort of unbelievable. But there's a lot of interest in investing, and people are going to yak about it all the time. And in the end, what counts is buying a good business at a decent price and then forgetting about it for a long, long, long time. And some people can do it and some people can't.